the world's great novels. The National Broadcasting Company presents the third and final episode of Kennilworth. The turbulent days of Queen Elizabeth return in another of the series of books that live, the world's great novel.
Richard Varney has used the black thread of deception in his scheme to make a king of his master, the Earl of Leicester. And now these threads of evil have spun a web of danger as Varney forces Leicester into a terrible decision, that the Countess Amy, wife of Leicester, must die, because the Earl believes Varney's false accusation that his wife has been unfaithful to him. By removing Amy, Varney seeks to overcome the only obstacle in Leicester's campaign to win the crown by marrying Queen Elizabeth. And now, at Kennilworth Castle, the jubilee in honor of Queen Elizabeth has begun. The Earl of Leicester assumes a gaiety he does not feel and graciously entertains his sovereign, unaware that in another part of the castle, his despairing wife has written him a letter, one which offers full proof of her innocence.
And because I was afraid that Richard Varney would kill me, I escaped from Cumnor Place and came here to Kenilworth. In that, I was aided by Wayland Smith, servant to Edmund Tressilian. I've taken refuge in the apartment of Tressilian, who has been nothing more than my good friend. Occupied as you are with many things, I realize you have little time for me. But if I could see you, look upon you, love you, I would be happy. Forever yours, Amy. And now, Master Smith, if you'll promptly deliver this letter to my Lord of Leicester.
Depend on it, Mistress Amy. I promised my master, Edmund Tressilian, I'd serve you faithfully.
This letter means so much to me. My safety, my happiness depend on its delivery.
I understand, my lady.
Oh, if only I could see him for a moment. But my Lord of Leicester entertains the Queen.
In another part of the castle, Richard Varney finds the Earl of Leicester somewhat wanting in enthusiasm.
Varney, I've little stomach for these rebels. I wish...
If you're thinking of the woman who betrayed you, forget her. I'll be leaving soon for Cumnor Place, and there I'll put an end to her.
She deserves to die. And yet...
No weakening, my lord. The time has come to play your cards. Play them right, and you'll take the Queen. And you'll be king.
One thing at a time, Varney. First, I must talk with Elizabeth. Under the proper circumstances, mind you.
She's in the garden now. Fine romantic setting for a courtship. And in the meantime, I'll be looking in on the Countess Amy. I must prepare her for the journey.
But Richard Varney discovers upon reaching Amy's room that she has escaped. Immediately, he begins a feverish search of the castle. At the same time, Wayland Smith discovers he has lost the letter which Amy had entrusted him to deliver to the Earl of Leicester. The Earl himself is in the garden with Queen Elizabeth.
Sit here, my lady.
My lord.
You are comfortable?
How could I be otherwise, when the gracious Earl of Leicester is my host?
It is not a man of title who is your host. It's Robert Dudley.
But a generous host, all the same. Oh, by the way, my lord, I haven't seen your captain, Richard Varney. Is he about?
Why, yes, he is.
I hope he's not forgotten I wish to meet this Amy, the wench he married.
Varney's not one to ignore the wishes of his queen, nor am I one to be oblivious to her beauty.
Dudley.
You are my queen, and I your subject. As such, you command a deep affection. But now the time has come to tell you how I feel. That to me you're both queen and woman. Elizabeth, I wish...
Dudley, please.
But, dearest lady...
No, Dudley. The ties that make the ordinary woman happy are denied to me. Were I as others, free to seek my own happiness, then indeed... But no, it cannot be. Give me time to think. Please, leave me.
As my lady wishes. I'll await your answer.
In her agitation, Elizabeth walks restlessly from the garden into an adjoining grotto. For a moment, she contemplates the sparkling fountain. Rising above it is an alabaster column and a figure half hidden behind it.
So cunningly fashioned, this piece of statuary. It needs only a magician's wand to make it... But it moves. Ah, fair nymph. Are you spellbound? Speak, we command you.
Gracious Queen.
Child, what's wrong? Stand up and tell me, what is it you want?
Your protection, madam.
Every daughter of England has that, if she's worthy of it. Now, tell me why you ask protection.
I don't know.
This is foolish. You must answer our question. Come.
I beg your protection against Richard Varney.
Ah. And now we know you. You're his wife. Ada.
My lady, I'm not his wife, I swear it. I'd rather be the bride of death itself.
What are you then, maid, wife, or paramour? Speak up, we command you.
The Earl of Leicester knows.
What? You'd slander him, the noblest lord in all of England? Come, we'll find him. We'll have this out at once. And now, my lord of Leicester, you know this young woman here?
I do, my lady.
You've deceived me, Leicester. Your head is in peril.
Madam, if it falls, it will be by sentence of my peers to whom I'll plead, not to a princess who repudiates my faithful service.
My lords, you hear that? We are defied. Marshal, take this man. Attach him for high treason.
Oh, but gracious lady, he's done no wrong, I swear it.
Now, what's this, you baggage? You told me the Earl of Leicester was witness to your injustice.
Your Grace.
And what's this intrusion, Varney?
Your pardon, my liege. But if there's a punishment to be inflicted, let it fall on me, not on my Lord of Leicester. He is innocent.
Oh, madam, do anything you wish to me. Put me in a dungeon. Oh, but please, I beg you, with the little reason I have left, remove me from the presence of this unspeakable Varney.
Catch her. The child seems faint. Call our court physician. Have him attend her. In the meantime, we will wait for his report.
And none awaits the report more eagerly than Richard Varney, who, when it is available, hurries to his master, the Earl of Leicester.
Ah, my lord, I bring good news.
Yes? The physician has examined her?
He has, but he can make no progress with her. She refuses to answer any questions. What's more, she refuses to give any reason for her silence. And so he'll testify she's afflicted with a mental disorder and should be committed to the custody of her friend.
Good. And what of Tressilian? He's still to be reckoned with.
He'll not know of her departure. I'll remove the lady at daybreak and take her with me to Cumnor Place. I promise that Master Tressilian will receive his just deserts tomorrow, just as I promise that the Mistress Amy will hold her tongue forever.
Richard Varney has departed for Cumnor Place with Amy. And now the Jubilee in honor of Queen Elizabeth is in full swing. Many of the revelers still wear their masks. At the moment, the Earl of Leicester has wandered restlessly to the rear of the banquet room. And when a man wearing a black mask suddenly speaks to him, he is startled.
My lord, I would like to speak with you.
Hey, who are you? And what do you want?
I've come in honor, you may be sure of that, but I must talk with you privately.
I demand your name.
I am Edmund Tressilian.
What?
Because I made a promise, I've kept silent. But now the time is up, and I can speak with you.
And what does Master Edmund Tressilian wish?
Justice, my lord.
And you, sir, are most deserving of it. Rest assured that you shall have it.
Oh, then I may meet you in your private chamber?
No, not under any roof of mine. Meet me in the garden after the Queen has retired.
I will be waiting for you.
Not as anxiously as I'll wait for you.
My lord.
Oh. Yes, boy, what is it?
The Queen wishes you to join her.
Oh. I'll come immediately.
Oh, Lester, you come in time to settle a dispute between us ladies. Now, Richard Varney has asked our permission to depart from Kennilworth with his lady, but the Duchess of Rutland swears he'll carry his poor insane wife no further than the lake, to plunge her in and return a jolly widower. What do you say, my lord? You think him capable of such a scoundrel's trick?
It's my opinion the ladies think too lightly of their own sex and too ill of ours. Certainly no such punishment would be inflicted on an innocent girl.
Hear him now. Like all men, he'd excuse male cruelty while accusing us of fickleness. But come, the hour is late and time to call an end to our gay evening.
The Earl of Leicester hurried straight to his apartment, his mind a turmoil of doubt and misgivings. Perhaps the voice of Elizabeth still rang in his ears.
The Duchess of Rutland swears he'll carry his poor insane wife no further than the lake, that he'll plunge her in and return a jolly widower.
And perhaps Leicester could not forget how Amy saved him from the anger of the Queen. At any rate, he commanded his valet to send Richard Varney to him immediately.
But, your lordship, Richard Varney has already left the castle.
I see. Did he leave any of his men behind?
Michael Lambourne, I believe.
Send him to me.
Yes, my lord.
Amy must be punished. But somehow, the thought of murder... No. I'll write Varney a letter. I've decided to postpone the matter entrusted to your care. I strictly command you to proceed no further with the Countess until you hear from me. I also command you to return my signet ring by speedy messenger. Come in, Lamont. How soon can you overtake your master?
If men and all so loud, my lord, I'll do it in an hour.
Then do it, and make certain you deliver this letter to Varney himself.
I'll spare neither time nor horse, sir.
I'll expect it of you, and now be off. I have an engagement of my own that I must keep in the garden.
And so, at the time appointed, the Earl of Leicester and Edmund Tressilian face each other in the moonlight.
And now, Master Tressilian, why all this secrecy?
My lord believes I am his enemy.
Have I not cause?
I speak for Amy Robsart, who's recently escaped from unjust confinement. She exacted a promise from me that I'd not interfere until she'd made every effort to have her rights acknowledged.
Rights acknowledged? By whom?
By whom? Whom else but her unworthy husband? It concerns no one's honor as much as it does your own. Therefore, I make these demands on you.
Honor? You talked of me of honor? You? I'll teach you honor with my sword. Come, Tressilian, defend yourself.
But why are you angry?
Draw your sword.
Oh, and here it is.
Oh, what's that? Is this sword play going on? What is it?
Quickly, in here behind this bush.
It doesn't matter where it came from. There'll be no dueling near the quarters of the Queen. Come, our gamecocks must be spawning in some other place.
We'll meet at noon tomorrow in the Grove of Oaks 1 mile from here. It will afford a greater privacy to settle our dispute.
I'll await your pleasure.
Meanwhile, Richard Varney and his party are traveling by night for Cumnor Place. Kennilworth is only a few miles behind them when the leader of the group signals a halt.
What is it, Barney? There's someone coming. Listen.
A horseman? Who can it be?
I'll soon find out. Foster, go on ahead with the Countess Amy. I'll deal with this fellow, whoever he is, and then catch up with you.
Be careful.
Ah, it's Michael Lambourne. I looked for you when I left Kennilworth, but likely you were guzzling in the wine shop.
None of your insolence, Varney.
The rooster crows, does he?
Look here, Richard Varney. I've got a message for you. A most important one.
From his lordship?
Yes.
And what is it?
Varney, his lordship says, is to pay the utmost respect to my Lady Amy. I trust you to be looking to it, his lordship says. And Lambert, me lad, he says, you're to take my signet ring from Varney and bring it back with you. There.
Ah, he did indeed. You know all, then?
All there is to know.
Tell me, was anyone present when my lord gave you these instructions?
Oh, not a living soul. You think the Earl would entrust such matters to anybody but me?
That's true enough, good Michael.
Don't Michael be. I've had enough of you, Richard Varney. From now on, I look out for myself.
Why, you fool. Then I have a present for you.
What's this? Pistol?
Yes. Poor Michael Lambourne. Help!
In the grove of oaks a mile from Kennilworth, the grim-faced Lester once more faces his hated adversary, Edmund Tressilian.
You're punctual, sir.
It is my custom.
Most commendable, I'm sure. But in this case, likely to be fatal.
Perhaps for you.
Now, sir, we'll resume where we left off. Ready?
Ready.
Now I have you! You've lost your sword. Confess your treachery before you die.
I've done no wrong. Still, I'm not afraid to die. Although God knows I've given you no cause.
No cause. Hear him. Sir, you're a liar, and you'll die a liar. Now then...
Hold down, my lord. Don't kill him.
But boy, let go my arm. I warn you, let go, I'll run you through.
Wait, sir. I have a letter for you. See?
What? Huh. So you have. And in Amy's hand. Where did you get this letter?
I found it. I should have brought it to you promptly. Forgive me.
I'll vouch for him, my lord. He's Dickie Sludge. Sometimes mischievous, but always honest.
Yes. It is from Amy.
I realize you have little time for me, but if I could only see you, look upon you, love you, I would be happy. Forever yours, Amy.
Amy. Tressilian, I've done her a great wrong. And now that devil Varney has her.
Varney? Then she's in great danger.
I know.
Then I'll take the matter up with Varney, her betrayer.
Varney, her betrayer. No, it is I. Amy Robesart is my wife.
Your wife? Oh, this is news indeed. News which concerns Queen Elizabeth. I'll go straight to her and demand that Amy be publicly acknowledged as your wife.
Oh, no, this is my affair, sir. I'm the one who will tell Elizabeth. I'll go to her now.
And then?
And then I'll ride to Cumnor Place, praying I come in time.
Elizabeth the Queen is temperate in judgment, forthright in decision, but in anger, devastating. In the Queen's private apartment at Kennilworth, the white-faced Earl of Leicester kneels at his sovereign's feet. His sword, unbuckled, lies before him on the floor. Beside him stands Lord Shrewsbury, Earl Marshal of England, holding his baton of office. Tressilian enters, and Queen Elizabeth lashes out at him.
Arthur! And now you've come. You knew of this deception.
Gracious madam, I did not know the Mistress Amy was Leicester's wife.
My lady, Tressilian's been no party to my crime.
And let me tell you, my Lord of Leicester, he'll be no better for your saying so. Ha! Elizabeth, the laughing stock of her court. I could tear my eyes out for their blindness.
Your Grace.
Yes, Burley.
Madam, remember you're a queen. Don't give way to this passion.
Burley, you're a statesman. As such, you wouldn't understand the scorn, the misery this man has heaped upon me.
Dear lady,
I am a statesman, but also a man, one grown old in your counsels. I have but one wish on earth, your glory and happiness. I beg you to be composed, or you will cause others to guess what they know not.
You're right, Burley. Anything but disgrace, anything but to seem slighted. My Lord of Leicester, rise. Take up your sword. Your quarter hour in custody is no great punishment for the falsehood you've inflicted on us. Yes, you've been a brave and noble gentleman, a gallant knight, a handsome courtier, skilled in flattery and compliments, a good protecting husband.
Your Grace has pardoned so much. She should forgive certain sentiments of my own, expressions which I made yesterday, which she received with no offense.
By heaven, your boldness passes all belief! Hear this, my lords! The Earl of Leicester's secret marriage has cost me a husband and England a king! Ha!
Madam, I beg you, take my head if you will, but spare me this ridicule.
And what would you have me do, my lord?
Grant me permission to travel to Cumnor Place.
And fetch home your bride? Ah, no. You've forgotten you're our host at Kennilworth. It would be small courtesy to leave us without a landlord. Ah, no. I'll send another in your place. Tressilian, you shall go to Cumnor Place. But first, secure a warrant for the bodies of Richard Varney and the astrologer who calls himself Velasco. Bring back the Mistress Amy in honor and health. And now, gentlemen, God be with you. Be off to Cumnor Place.
And meanwhile, at Cumnor Place, Varney, Foster, and Amy have just arrived. Varney has been on a tour of inspection.
Foster! Foster, where are you?
Yeah, Varney.
As soon as we arrived, I went directly to Alasko's laboratory.
Yes?
Our friend has gone, exhaled.
What?
Yes, he's dead. Apparently he'd been mixing some devil's brew. The glass mask he'd used must have slipped and fallen from his face. Inhaled his own poison and so exhaled.
Alasko dead.
Yes, he is. We'll miss both him and his prescriptions. And Michael Lambourne, too.
Where is Lambourne?
Ask no questions. If you're true to yourself, someday you'll meet him. And now, the Mistress Amy is still in her apartment?
She is.
And you've sent your daughter Janet away?
I have, Master Varney.
Good. Then let's go upstairs to that little vestibule just outside your room. We've work to do. And stop cringing like a dog.
I'll not harm the girl. I'll have no part of it.
That won't be necessary. I have a plan. Ah, here we are. The vestibule. Mm-hmm. I think this will do it, Master Foster.
I don't understand.
You will. Now, in there's your room?
Yes?
And if the Countess were confined there, her only means of exit would be across this vestibule?
You mean the trapdoor?
I do. The entire floor of this small vestibule is the trapdoor. If it were open, and a person were suddenly to leave your room...
From the doorway, they'd step off into yawning space and plunge 40 feet to the lowest level of Cumnor Place.
Good. And now let's try the lever in your room, which manipulates the trap.
Careful, Master Varney. Stand clear of the vestibule.
Have no fear of that. And now this little lever.
Oh.
Ah. It's the pit of Hades. Yes, the drop is every bit of 40 feet. Will do very nicely for the Countess Amy. And now another test. But first I'll close the trap. And now if I turn the little lever in the opposite direction... What happens then, Master Foster?
The flooring of the vestibule still looks the same, but the supports underneath have withdrawn,
And it yields to the slightest pressure. The innocent-appearing floor becomes a trap of death. Am I right, friend Foster?
You are, Richard Varney.
And so you'll have the old woman conduct the Countess Amy to this room. You understand?
Yes.
Our lady will tire of her confinement. The lever will be properly arranged. She'll try to escape, and then the trapdoor you contrive to guard the gold you hide in your room will catch not a thief, but a countess. And now do as you're directed. See to it that the Mistress Amy is conducted to your room. Immediately. What's the matter with that woman?
She makes no opportunity to escape.
I know. My patience wearing thin.
Perhaps she waits the Earl's return.
That's it. I hadn't thought of it before. She'll come out of her room when she hears his lordship's whistle. It goes like this.
No, Barney. No, it's too late. Look out the window. Edmund Tressilian comes across the meadow with a company of horsemen.
What?
Run, Barney, run for your life.
Run? That's a game I never played. And I'm too old to learn a new one. No, I'll play the old game out.
And upstairs in Foster's room, the Countess Amy, waiting for her lord, also hears the company of horsemen headed by Tressilian racing to her rescue.
What's that? Someone's coming. Quick, the window. It's a company of horsemen. I don't see my lord. Where is he? Oh, it's he. That's our signal. Oh, I'll run to him. I cannot wait.
And so death comes to Amy Robsart at Cumnor Place. Gentle Amy, of whom only men said, true and tender in love, gay in leisure, and proudly defiant in the face of danger and dishonor. And now the death who had come in mercy changes his guise, waits in retribution as Richard Varney contemptuously defies his captors, and within a few hours kills himself with a poison believed to have been prepared for him by the astrologer Alasco. Blighted was the life of the grief-stricken Edmund Tressilian, who disposed of the rich inheritance left him by Amy's father and went to Virginia with Sir Walter Raleigh, where he died young in years, but old in sorrow. The gay life of the court, he renounced the gay life of the court, went into a brooding retirement, though later, when restored to favor by Queen Elizabeth, he too was to know the poison cup, a cup intended for another, but which he drank himself. Thus ends Kennilworth by Sir Walter Scott, a tragic tale of intrigue, unhappy love, and ambition so unbridled as to claim death's epitaph.
Kennilworth by Sir Walter Scott is one of the world's great novels brought to you each week by the NBC University of the Air. Listen next week to a special radio treatment of The Man Without a Country by Edward Everett Hale. And meanwhile, let us urge you to make frequent use of your local public library. To add to your enjoyment of this series, we recommend the Handbook of the World's Great Novels, which you may obtain by sending 25 cents to World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27, New York. That's Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27. Kennilworth was adapted for radio by Robert Saxon. The music was composed by Emil Soderstrom, and the orchestra was directed by Bernard Berquist. The entire production was under the direction of Homer Heck. Queen Elizabeth was played by Geraldine Kay, the Earl of Leicester by Arthur Peterson, Amy Robsart by Jane Elliott, Richard Varney by Charles Mountain, and Edmund Tressilian by Larry Alexander. The narrator was George Kluge. Others were Harry Elders, Donald Gallagher, Stanley Gordon, William Green, and Howard Phillips. This is John Conrad. This program comes to you from Chicago and is a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations. We We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. These words are part of our American heritage. We can translate them into positive action by making sure we recognize the dignity and rights of every man, whatever his race, creed, or national background. This is your heritage and your responsibility. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.